During Ashland's visit to Victoria, Cheslea disputes with Sally and Ashland takes a menacing turn. There was a new episode of The Young and the Restless airing today. Billy becomes concerned about his ex-girlfriend, and Chloe accepts an offer. Victoria closes the door behind her as she enters her own house. When someone knocks on the door, she's startled but comforted when Billy answers the phone. His explanation that he wants her to pick up the kids from camp before going out of town for work is met with a resounding yes from her. He asks whether she's all right because she appears a little stressed and she shrugs it off. There's a lot on Victoria's mind right now. Billy has heard that Ashland has returned to town, and he is curious as to why he is staying. Because of his son, Victoria speculates that he violated the order and he was detained and released on bond. Now, I hope that he'll go. Suddenly, the storm outside thumps against the shutter, causing Victoria to spring to action. Billy's expression shows that he is aware of her presence. Upon meeting Sally at society, Chloe inquires, "Is this about the job offer?" Sally confirms that she has been given the go-light to hire her as COO. As the redhead points out, Chloe would be hired on a trial basis as well. A hard hitter could be preferable to Chloe, but Sally knows they work well together. If she still wants the job, it's hers. Accepting the challenge, Chloe goes for it. Welcome to the team, Sally. No matter how hard she tries, Chloe will succeed in her mission. Sally recruited her because of that. Just as Chloe mentions Adam, Adam walks into the room. Sally follows Adam as he orders takeout. "I'd want to hear from you. My voicemail was left for you." Adam doesn't want to continue to be mean to her, but he can't help it. "Her professional success had nothing to do with my decision to end our relationship." Sally is adamant that he cannot possibly be capable of letting go of his affections for her in such a way. "A man who doesn't love you isn't worth pursuing," Adam says, and she should put her energy into her studies at Newman. "There is no point in spending any more of our time, yours or mine." Cheslea emerges behind Adam as Sally wipes away a tear. "Are you all right?" Adam exits the room, saying, "We're done here." No sets Nick down on the patio of Crimson Lights and tells him he believes he has finally found the course for his career. In Nick's estimation, he's ready to leave New Hope. While Node appreciates the organization's efforts, he does not wish to devote his full time to its management. "Where is your heart?" Nick inquires. No expects to be astonished when he hears. A nightclub inspired by art is what he envisions for the tower summit. That's something Nick didn't expect to hear at all. When asked how his previous employment and experiences have prepared him for now, No beams with pride. To which Nick replies, "No, I haven't run it by my grandfather." Once the business plan is ready, No can convince Victor that a nightclub would be more profitable than a restaurant. The fact that he knows his father will be disappointed in New Hope makes him angry. The question Nick asks is, "Are you kidding me?" No matter what, he'd never let him down. He enjoys seeing him happy. No's grin widens. It's a pleasant feeling. Nick offers him a hearty hug and encourages him to follow his passion. Billy inquires about Victoria's well-being at her home. She swears that she is okay. Billy remembers how afraid the youngsters used to become when the old building would crack and pop in the wind. As they watch their children develop, they wish they could halt time and freeze it in its tracks. Billy is worried about Ashland being in town, but Victoria can't wait to see them again. He also dislikes the idea of her being left alone at home. Victoria is adamant that Locke will track down the Abbotts, the people who arrested him in the first place. Victoria is right. There is no need to be concerned about my safety. While Lily is in California, she tells him she can take care of the kids while he's away. Close the curtains and lock the door while you're alone. There is a tapping sound coming from the other room as she gets started on her task. There is no way she can ignore the tapping. Opening the French doors to let fresh air through, she sees Ashland standing there with his smirk on his face. Sally tells Chloe what transpired between her and Adam at society. A delighted and relieved Sally tells her that they're no longer together and asks her not to express her feelings. Instead, they raise a glass to knocking on doors, busting asses, and making a reputation for yourselves as a team. If Adam had expected Chloe to quit her CEO position, is that what caused their relationship to fall apart? A conversation about that isn't something Sally is interested in having. As a result of Adam's terrible habit of keeping women in his orbit and making them believe they are the only ones who understand him, Chloe advises Sally to focus on her profession instead. Adam is toxic, she shouts, and she cautions Sally not to let him ruin her life. You've got bigger fish to fry, he said. Cheslea appears and tells Sally, I can't believe how Adam treated you just now, with a twinkle in her eye. I'm very sorry that's happening to you. Cheslea expresses her concern to Sally, who politely reminds her that they have a meeting. That they are working together surprised Cheslea. She's baffled as to why Lauren has agreed to this. Newman Media's chief operating officer, will be Chloe, as explained by CEO Sally Newman. Adam was supposed to be in charge of the division, according to Cheslea. Sally claims that Adam has moved on. Cheslea adds sarcastically, wow, that lasted about as long as I anticipated it to too, after observing, including you, evidently. Noel is relieved as they sit outside on Crimson Light's terrace, and Nick points out it would be dishonest of him to pass judgment on his son after going through so many career changes himself. No matter what happens, you can count on my unwavering support. Nick asks No to keep him updated on the nightclub situation while he gets ready for his date with Allie. On his way out, No stops to say hello to Billy. Then Billy pulls Nick aside and reveals to him that Victoria is agitated and trying to hide something. They both know what Ashland is capable of, and he reminds Nick of this. There are no worries about Victoria as long as you're with Nick, Billy says in response to Nick telling him to relax. He knows Victoria, and she's afraid of the snake. If he broke a restraining order, he must be in a desperate state of mind. Despite Nick's belief that Kyle will enrage Locke, Billy disagrees. Nick assures Billy that Ashland would not harm Victoria as he has promised. Go and check on your sister, Billy urges him. Do you want to check on her? When Ashland arrives at Victoria's house, she throws wide the French doors and wonders aloud what the hell he's doing out in the elements. For the sake of seeing her one final time, he admits to being nervous about making his presence felt. I didn't mean to terrify you, he adds, continuing. I don't know how to say goodbye after everything we've shared, he said. Only if Ashland pledges to leave Victoria alone after this will Victoria listen to what he has to say. She opens the door for him. Ashland notices that it's difficult to view her this way, but it's also difficult to avoid her. Don't you think so, too? Why, after all we've been through? The best days of my life and yours, too. Didn't you tell me so? When I see the way you look at me, do you honestly believe that our relationship is over? Victoria's phone starts ringing. When Ashland arrives at Victoria's house, she throws wide the French doors and wonders aloud what the hell he's doing out in the elements. For the sake of seeing her one final time, he admits to being nervous about making his presence felt. I didn't mean to terrify you, he adds, continuing. I don't know how to say goodbye after everything we've shared, he said. Only if Ashland pledges to leave Victoria alone after this will Victoria listen to what he has to say. She opens the door for him. Ashland notices that it's difficult to view her this way, but it's also difficult to avoid her. Don't you think so, too? Why, after all we've been through? The best days of my life and yours, too. Didn't you tell me so? When I see the way you look at me, do you honestly believe that our relationship is over? Victoria's phone starts ringing at that exact moment. Allie approaches No at the rooftop bar and inquires about his talk with his father. It was wonderful, No exclaims. Seeing him enthused about something was a welcome sight for him. You were correct. She tells him it's time to celebrate when he repeats back that she was correct. After a few drinks, Allie confirms to No that he was correct. This club is surprisingly laid back at night. No dances with her. She didn't expect him to ask. They close in on each other as the music slows down. It's time for No to tell the truth. I can't get my mind off of our sex. A confession from Allie, too. She smothers him with a kiss. Even though Cheslea is accused by Sally of abandoning Chloe for her own weird reasons, Cheslea insists that their partnership wasn't working for her either. Chloe can see why Cheslea felt the need to take care of herself in that way. Because of this, Sally wonders why Cheslea isn't thrilled for her. When Sally was hired at the fashion company, Chloe didn't even get Chelsea's permission, and Cheslea is enraged. You weren't even employed by the company. Chloe gasps. Sally used to be Chloe's subordinate, but now she's Chelsea's boss. Cheslea is enraged. Are you beginning to see how cunning she is? It breaks Sally's heart that Chelsea's life is so bleak and depressing that she has no other choice but to spew her poison. When Billy enters the room, Cheslea shrieks that her life is going well and that she's about to start a new relationship. Adam had given Sally the job while she was sleeping with him, and she wishes her success. At least he left you with something, Billy's girlfriend says as she joins him at the restaurant. Ashland notices that Victoria's faith in him has been undermined when he visits her at home. Informing him, she says it's over. A ruthless man, Locke tells her, is still the same man he used to be, and she believes she's right. He had no qualms about anything he had done. At long last you admit that your contrition was all an act. Victoria throws up her hands. He bursts out, It was. It was. It was. It was. At first, Victoria, but you altered my life. God knows how many times I've told you this. My desire to be a better person was sparked by your love and our marriage. All of a sudden, you took it all away from me, and I'm left feeling like the lost soul you and your father have been accusing me of being since we were children. Now that you've gone, I've lost both my heart and soul. Victoria refuses to accept responsibility, claiming that he is solely to blame. It is because of you that I am in anguish, Ashland yells. To thank you for reviving my senses. Why can't you see that? When you said you'd always love me no matter what, I believed you. If he had thought she would forgive him for his enormous falsehoods, Victoria believes he would have wanted her to believe it. Ashland is amazed that she is unable to comprehend that he has undergone a major shift in his personality. She may be aware of the shift, but she doesn't seem to notice. In Victoria's opinion, there is nothing left for him to do. There's nothing left to lose, says Locke. Victoria's expression is anxious. When Cheslea and Billy are at society, Sally remarks to Chloe that Cheslea is a witch and wonders what is going on with her. She says they're working on a podcast together, and Chloe confirms this. Wishing her the best if that's what she needs to do to complete her recovery process is her only concern. Based on the way that she's treated her, Sally believes that it's generous of her to think so. It's Chloe's opinion that they should concentrate on impressing Victoria. Cheslea bursts out laughing and mockingly refers to Billy as boss. Her thoughts have been forwarded to her by email while he is away for at least a few days. Laughing hysterically, Cheslea promises to give him plenty of criticism when he returns. The woman across the room, Sally, wonders aloud if Lily approves of their new venture. It's beyond of Chloe's scope of influence. She's not interested. Chloe will start first thing in the morning, and Sally will return to speculating about Chelsea's performance for the remainder of the day. Ashland is wanted out of Victoria's residence. He stands in her way as she makes her way to the entrance to him. It appears that she wants him gone because she is unable to accept what she has done, the sacrifices she made when she gave up on them. On the other hand, Victoria tells him he can't control her anymore because she no longer cares about him. Who is Ashland? Who is Victoria? He screams, To you, who am I? A waste of time and energy, something to be thrown away like so much garbage. No, now that I see it, there's only one way you're going to get rid of me. There is just one way out of this situation. The door to Victoria's house is knocked on by Nick. When did you last see Vic?